Are you ready? Yes, I sure am. Action. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Team Talks. We talk about teams. Today, we're going to be interviewing every single coach in ACFL, at least the ones that agreed to it, and talking about how their season went and how they think that's going to go next time. All right. Have a great time and enjoy. So, how'd you feel last season went? Well, I'd say last season went pretty good. Only issue was we didn't get past the first round. But you see, we've improved. And this is not going to happen again. I mean it. Mark my words. You will see us in the second round, or you will not see us in the playoffs. You will not be out in the wild card round. You will not be. I don't care if it takes 1,000 games. I don't care if it takes 2 decades. I will win a championship. And I will burn anybody who comes in my path to do so. How's free agency going? Any fighting with the players? Any fighting with the players? Any players fighting with each other? No, not really. It's mainly just a hunt for Tyree Epps, which he's been found dead already. So overall, we're pretty good. Not really any free agency signings, but I'm going to tell you, one of the worst draft classes we've ever had. What are your expectations for this season? My expectations? I expect it to get a little bit worse, but I still expect us to make playoffs. If you don't make playoffs, then that sucks. Who's making the championship bowl? Dayton Death Rattle needs to get their credit. I don't see the credit not going to them. Dayton Death Rattle's like the GOAT. But at the same time, though,
it's not so bad.
I gotta pick someone else.
I vote you for
There's other opponents, but like Dayton Death Rattle should be on there.
I sent you letters
He has
back anonymous.
he has the best impact on my
Probably with the
team.
problem with the post office or something.
Go.
Sometimes the school address is too sloppy when I draw them. But anyways, what's up, man? How's your daughter? My girlfriend's pregnant too. I'm about to be a father. Hi, father.
I'll go Jacob McFlurry, man.
My name is Bonnie.
McFlurry and
yeah, about your Uncle Lonnie too. I'm sorry.
What's his name?
I had a friend kill himself over some.
I know his name.
Didn't want him. I know you probably hear this every day.
Jacob McFlurry and Dustin Reef, man. They're like the ultimate wide receiver quarterback duo.
Pictures, man.
The quarterback, Jacob McFlurry, he's always been there.
Man. Hit me back.
Dustin Reef has also always been there. This is amazing. See how much they've grown so well to each other. Now, who else is making MVP? No clue. I'll give it to whoever the London Knights quarterback is. They're gonna do insane. Thank you for speaking to me. No, thank you, man. It was fun doing this. Alright, have a great day, sir. You too. Next up, we got Coach Philip Freeman of the Seattle Sonics. Let's get it.
Hey, Coach Freeman, how's your day going today?
Good. How about you,
I ain't
sir?
that mad though. I just don't like being lied to.
I've been doing pretty good today.
When we met in Denver, you said if I
Uh,
wrote you would write back.
so
Like you in a way.
this has been a lot happening this past season. And I just want to know, how do you feel like this season's gone for you?
This past season has been it's been okay. We made the playoffs again, but of course we had to lose somehow, and this time we ended up losing to our division rival, the Firebirds, 50-20. I think that was a fault on our offense, just like pretty uncoordinated at that time in my eyes. Feel like for what I've seen, what we can do this off season, we can, we've improved a little bit after recent signings and trades have gone through. So.
We should be together too.
Yeah, good to hear. So, good to hear. I can tell you're gonna do good this season. So speaking of the off season, how has your off season gone? And what kinds of signings do you think could benefit you?
So we haven't signed anybody yet from free agency because I don't really see like with our current cap space situation. I don't see us signing anybody from free agency that's under like 5 million, which is probably not going to be anybody. But in the off season, we did grab Stallions wide receiver DJ Fasho for a third round pick. I mean, that one just kind of happened. I didn't know. So. And it's also okay. We've gotten let some of our defensive walk into free agency along with Shipley. So I feel it's pretty okay so far.
You could have rescued me from drowning. Now it's too late. I'm on 1,000 downers now and drowsy.
Sorry.
And all I wanted was a lousy lateral call. I hope you know I ripped all your pictures off the wall. I love you, Slim.
Keep going.
Together. Think about it. You and I.
So, Coach Freeman, what are your expectations for the season?
I feel like with our current roster, everyone's been saying like, "Oh, we're a championship contender team." I personally think that with our current team, we can make it at least to the conference championship this year. Like this is finally the year, but I don't think we're making it past that. With how the conference, the TFC is standing right now, I mean, we just had the Knights like just make it to the bowl, and we still have really good teams in the conference, so I don't think we're gonna. It's not an easy conference to get through, nor is it an easy division to get through right now. It's still the Aviators and Firebirds on high alert.
I can't see it all.
Oh yeah, that's right. Y'all got one of the worst divisions.
Not necessarily the worst divisions. It's more of a tough division. We've pulled through.
It's not so bad.
Done in the rough, and we've made it top of the division twice. But of course, ended up losing that to both division rivals.
So you're pregnant now? I found all your issues.
Couple of years.
I'm really glad that you call your daughter that. And here's an autograph for your mother. I wrote on the starter cap.
Who do you see making the championships this year?
This season, I think. I personally think that I don't think that the Death Rattle at this pace are slowing down right now after their rebuild right after they won the championship or whatever that was. I don't know why they went 10. Same thing with the 89ers, but I think the Death Rattle. Wait, no, they're different conference. Yeah, the Death Rattle, they're pretty good. I think the Stallions could. I don't know. I think this is their run to the conference championship year and fall short. Sadly, no need to.
I think it'll be
sadly.
I think it'll be the Death Rattle representing the CFC, and with how the TFC is looking right now, I think it could be another Aviators or Knights appearance. You never know. But I actually think might be an underrated hot take. I think the Demons could make it at least to the conference championship next season. They're pretty good the past couple of seasons or whatever their past season or two. I think they might make it to the conference championship. Maybe the finals. I don't know. We'll just see what happens.
All right. Who do you see making the best impact on your team this year?
This year, I think the new trio or new squad. It's not really a squad. It's just like one O-line that's making an impact. I think the new trio of the newly formed trio of Kiko, Logan, Downs, and Fasho they're gonna do pretty good along with our somewhat okay defense, but I mean I've seen what our defense can do and it's pretty good sometimes. So
alright. Actually looks like a really good trio. Sorry.
Yeah.
Who do you see making the MVP for this year?
Oh, it's the MVP race hasn't changed for a couple of seasons now. Of course, MVP. It's always going to be like it's either Tyson or Floyd or whoever the current quarterback from the Mangoes is right now. It's always going to be one of those two. So it hasn't changed. the MVP race never changes, so it's always gonna be it's either the Mangoes QB, whoever is on there right now. I think it's Smith or Floyd. I don't remember, and Tyson. It's always gonna be them too. They're always always doing good, putting up good numbers. I personally think so. Or yeah, I just haven't seen enough, stuff from the other teams so far. So.
Well, thank you for being interviewed, and have a great day, Coach Freeman. And next up, we got a playoff contender nearly every season. We have the New Orleans Aviators. How do you feel last season went for your team?
Very great, considering the fact that we sold almost everyone at the trade deadline.
Have you had a lot of stuff going on in free agency? Has there been any fighting on your team this past free agency?
Nope. Pretty calm in free agency. We're prioritizing training up the rookies over big free agent signings.
What are your expectations for your team this season?
Not much. Maybe one playoff win and that's it. Like mentioned previously, this isn't the season we're going to go for the title. We're just trying to train up the next batch of players for now.
Who do you see making the championship for this next season?
Not sure. I feel like it could be a Knights versus Death Rattle year. Who knows?
Who do you think is going to have the biggest impact on your team?
Julian Jack for sure. He's a bright young superstar who makes plays and ramps up the team, takes nothing for granted and works very hard. He's a ball of sunshine and was born to be a leader.
Who do you see making MVP for this season?
Case Tyson. It's been a while since he's won it, and he's not slowing down. If not him, then I'd be shocked, to be honest.
Thank you for being part of this interview, and have a great day. And next up, we have a team that's had a bit of a struggle. They've gotten close to making playoffs, but haven't quite gotten there. This is the Wisconsin Wildcats. How do you feel last season went for your team? How's your free agency going? And have any of your players been fighting? What are your expectations for this season? What teams do you see making the championship bowl? Who do you see making the biggest impact on your team? What player do you see winning the MVP? Well, thank you for joining us on this thing, and have a great day. And next up, we have another ACFL team. I want you guys to welcome the Colorado Springs Cyborgs. How would you see this season went for your team?
Last season was disappointing to say the least. We had a shot in the playoffs, but can't seem to get past the challenging death rattle.
How do you feel your free agency is going, and is any of your players fighting?
My offseason has been focused on drafting and prepping my defense and trying to prepare my veterans to take that next level in their performances. The small group is showing great sportsmanship and teamwork, though, which is great to see as a coach.
What are your expectations for this season?
I wouldn't be surprised if we made a run, but realistically it's hard to go against the Death Rattle and the Knights, who are the next team in my eyes to get their first ring.
Who do you think is going to make the biggest impact on your team?
Johnny Bandy and Diamante Dynamite Lewis have to be more productive with their targets and receptions. My defense also has the elevate. I will spaz if we have any more blowout losses to the Dragons and Death Rattle.
What player do you see making MVP?
Farniak and Roberts are my favorites. The two QBs of European teams seem primed to meet in the TFC Championship.
Well, that's all I got for you today, so thank you so much for your help and have an amazing day.
Thank you for having me.
And now we go to a team that hasn't played in a few years. We will welcome back our OG player, the St. Louis Lancers. So, how do you feel last season went?
The last season I played was pretty good. I was like 10-5.
How's free agency going? Any players fighting?
Free agency is basically the only thing keeping this shit franchise together. Little bit of fighting between our Dinglefart and Powers.
What are your expectations for this season?
I think we just missed the playoffs. 7-8.
Who do you see being in the championship bowl?
I gotta go with Dragons versus Aviators.
Who do you see making the biggest impact on your team?
Definitely Abry Ingram. I think we can get him an Offensive Player of the Year.
What player do you see making MVP this year?
No idea who's gonna get MVP, but I'll go with Savion Landry on Death Rattle.
It's 1 a.m., so if I sound unenthusiastic, that's why. This team is one of the most chaotic teams in ACFL history. Please welcome Houston Scorpions X. How do you feel like your last season went?
Horrible. Worst season in my entire run here.
How's your free agency going? Any fighting?
In terms of free agency, besides maintaining contracts, we're doing well.
What are your expectations for this season?
I expect at least a division championship appearance.
Who do you see making the championship bowl?
Knights, possibly me or Monarchs.
Who do you think is going to do the best on your team this season?
Henry Horton and Paxton Owusto on their sides of the ball, respectively.
Who do you think will be the MVP for this season?
Could be Death Rattle's QB or Case Tyson.
And before we go on to our next team, our sponsor for today's video is Dayton Daily News, ran by the Dayton Death Rattle. Now, the Dayton Death Rattle have made it so every single day or something like that, there's a newspaper program that keeps you updated on your sports news, ACFL. For example, a few days ago, probably a few weeks ago, but that's because I haven't been able to do much progress with this video. A few days ago, I'll say that. They made a newspaper about predictions for how each team is going to do this season. They put No Name at 4-11. Okay. Then we're going to go back to the video. The next team that comes up is the Dayton Death Rattle. This team has been doing pretty well, and we think they're going to have a great season this season. How do you feel last season went?
I feel like last season was exactly as we expected. We got back on track to being one of the top teams in the FL, and look forward to doing it again this season.
How's your free agency going? Any fighting going on?
We actually don't have any free agents this season. With our investment in our players, we kept all but 2 of them and signed 2 new rookies to fill our roster.
What are your expectations for this season?
I expect to finish honest or twand in my division.
Now, to catch the error there, here's the error that just occurred. It doesn't know how to say first and second, so it said onest, and it was like two wind, basically. So it's like, instead of first and second, it was a onest and 2 wind. So, yeah, it says first and second, don't worry.
In addition, I'd like to make another deep run into the playoffs and be among the top scoring teams.
Who do you see making the championship bowl?
I see the Kentucky Stallions and New Orleans Aviators making the CB this season.
Who do you see making the biggest impact on your team this season?
I think my twand-year veterans, QB Savion Landry and Abiar Bobby Rivers, making the biggest impact. They've already made a massive impact last season, being in the running for all offensive awards.
Who do you see making MVP for this season?
I would like to see our rookies in the MVP race again. They had the numbers for it last season, and I expect them to again this season. June Cho, head coach of the Dayton Death Rattle.
And our next team is a team that's gone pretty far multiple times, and I think could actually have a chance at winning the championship bowl still. Please welcome the London Knights. How do you feel last season went?
I'm pretty happy but altogether disappointed. It sucks we couldn't finish the job and get our first ring.
How's your free agency going? Any fighting?
Not currently looking at anyone. Just planning on drafting some young talent to replace the guys we lost. I believe we keep a good locker room and everyone respects each other mostly.
Who do you see making the championship bowl this season?
I think it's going to be Aviators and Death Rattle.
Who do you think the biggest impact on your team will be?
I think the biggest impact will be our QB, Gabriel Robert. It's his 9th season and I see some development happening.
Who do you see making MVP this season?
I believe it'll be the Aviators quarterback. He's been playing really good ball.
And the final team we have presenting with us today is the Roanoke Flamingos. I'm not even sure if I said that right. How do you feel last season went?
I feel like my last season was pretty underwhelming as we were the worst scoring team in the league and only had 2 wins.
How's your free agency going? Any fighting?
I haven't done anything in the free agency as I liked my roster.
What are your expectations for this season?
I want to be competitive in my division, and best case scenario, we get into the playoffs and maybe do something there.
Who do you see making the championship bowl?
Probably the Death Rattle.
Who do you see making the biggest impact on your team?
I see my new improved defense with star defensive lineman Armin Chung making the biggest impact for my team.
Who do you see making MVP for this season?
I would say Savion Landry goes back-to-back because of how potent the Death Rattle's offense is.
Okay, that's all of the interviews. Now, because of the fact that 2 weeks have flown by in the season, I'm going to show where we're at in the season, and then we're done. This is the TFC. This is the CFC.
Now, this has been one of my longest projects so far. So I'd like to thank every last one of you people that helped me out here. Have a good day.